Are we just lying to ourselves? Let's get to the bottom of it. So, how do we as a society begin to heal all the hurts within it? It's a really big question and one that we really need to get to the root of. What I see at the root is the rampant deception and dishonesty within our society. And this is really tough to deal with because how do we actually know what we're dealing with when anything can be a lie? Well, if you've seen any of my stuff by now, you'll know that I always say it starts with us. So let me tell you a story about myself. When I was a young teenager, there was this group of guys I really wanted to hang out with. I thought they were really cool. And one of the things I learned really quickly about this particular group was that they were always flipping each other's shit. They were always joking with each other in this really mean way. Now, something about that just didn't sit right with me. I mean, I could feel it inside myself. And for me, that was really rare because I was an extremely externally driven person. But because of my need to people please and be accepted due to childhood trauma, I adapted. Now, this is one of the first times I learned to become a chameleon within a group. It was also one of the first times the manipulation behind my people pleasing had revealed itself. Now, this is not something I could see back then, but obviously I can clearly see now. Anyway, if I couldn't beat them, I may as well join them. So I became a raging smartass. I mean, come on, it's a lot better to be a smartass than a dumbass, right? Well, I'm not so sure. It's probably better to be neither. So what's the point of my story? By not listening to that little voice inside and trusting the feelings I was getting, and instead choosing to ignore it so I could feel accepted, I betrayed myself. So what is self-betrayal? Simply put, it's a lie we tell ourselves. It's when we go against what we know to be right for ourselves. It is something that every single one of us has done at some point in our lives. And of course, it's not a surprise. I mean, lies and deception are ingrained in our society. It's something we're taught at a very young age. Our parents did it with their beliefs and their stories, and their parents did the same thing to them. Just think of how many of us believed in Santa Claus. It's a total deception, and this is considered normal. This is how our society functions. And I know there are a lot of people out there who pride themselves on their honesty and their integrity. But let's be honest, is telling ourselves and others that we're an honest person actually mean that we are? Do our actions actually match our words? Or are we just telling ourselves more lies? These are questions we must really examine for ourselves. So how do we change it? How do we stop the rampant deception and dishonesty within our society? As I said earlier, we start with ourselves. Regardless of what we tell ourselves and others, we must all take a seriously deep look inside and ask if we are truly being honest with ourselves, because that's where it starts. When we lie to ourselves, we betray ourselves. It's as simple as that. And once we do that, what's from stopping us from betraying others? Absolutely nothing. It's an absolute epidemic. So how do we do it? How do we know whether we're truly being honest with ourselves or not? You'll know because you feel it in the pit of your stomach. If something isn't right for us, or we are not being true to ourselves, it will certainly let us know. I mean, we've all heard the phrase, trust your gut. Well, do it for crying out loud. You won't regret it. All right, everyone. That's it for this time. Until next time, peace, and I love you all.